All right, what's up, everybody? Here we are again for another interview with people that I consider unicorns. These are just individuals that I feel do awesome and amazing things. And I have another one of my friends, my homies here. Her name is Robin, and we're going to get to know a little bit more about her and the things that she does to help improve this world of ours. So, welcome, Miss Robin.
Hello, hi everyone. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So I've already said your name a few times, but I'm gonna have you repeat it again. If you could just please introduce yourself, where you're from and what it is that you do.
Okay, so my name is Robin, as Miss Abby said. I am originally from California, Compton, California to be exact, and I currently live now in Maryland, DC area. I am a jack of all trades. I'm a commissioned painter. I do guest lectures. I actually have been offered a professorship, adjunct professorship recently, so I'll be taking that coming up. I am a personal trainer, a fitness enthusiast, a yoga trapeze instructor. I am a co-founder of an organization called Sexual Enigma, which is all about helping couples delve deeper into their sexuality and their connection with one another through yoga trapeze and mat-based yoga. Oh, that's a mouthful. And I am currently completing life coaching and health coaching training so that way I can become a feminist empowerment life coach.
All right, no doubt about it. You just said an entire mouthful. So we're gonna try to unpack the about 7 things that you said that you did really quick. And the reason being is that I am really trying to encourage and influence people who have, in a sense, gone the traditional route, gone to college, got a job, and are just doing what the script says, right? And so the way I'd like you to unpack that is, if you were at one point in time following the script, what that script was, and when you ripped it apart.
So, yeah, I followed the script hardcore. I got an undergraduate degree in toxicology, environmental toxicology, and then I went to grad school and I got a master's of public health, focusing in environmental and occupational health. And then after that, I did a fellowship at the EPA, and I was there for a couple of years. And then I went and I worked for a few nonprofits as like engagement managers, and I was doing trainings all over the US. I was presenting at different conferences, child awareness conferences, environmental health conferences. Like I was on the straight and narrow track. And when I tore it up, was one day I was just like, I'm not super happy. Like, I love environmental health. I love children's environmental health. I love the science background that I have. But the things that was doing was not providing me happiness. I felt stressed, like overwhelmingly stressed. And then I started working out more. I was like, okay, working out working out reduces stress, so we're going to do that more. And around that time, in 2014 I got my what is it called, my personal training certification. And a lot of people in my life had died from things that were either stress related or stress induced, or just preventable diseases. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do
Mm.
what I'm doing anymore. I don't like how things are running at the place that I was at. I really didn't like the atmosphere of it. And I felt like it was a sinking ship. And I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm going to leave. I had already had a part-time job at a gym, and I was like, let's just go do that. Let's do that and see what happens. So that was the first like rip down the middle of the paper.
That is awesome to hear. That is awesome to hear. So your first, the first rip in your page is to leave tradition, to leave the script. and to do, you know, the personal training. Now you got a whole bunch of other stuff that's in there as well. So yeah, I do want to hear about it, because it's just like, we're not limited into our particular options. So could you tell us a little bit more about? I know you do art, and I know, with the personal training that you also kind of, you not kind of, you also do yoga, and then you do trapeze yoga as well. So can you give us a little bit more insight into the art part? Where did the art start, and how did you become more comfortable with yourself saying that this is what because I feel like people are just fearful of saying this is what I do. What was that transition like from being like, this
Hmm.
degree says I can do this, to saying like I'm an artist because I said so. So sorry, I know I just said a mouthful, but like, when did you get, started in your art, and then how did you transform your mind into being able to say that this is what I do, this is what I provide, this is who I am?
Yeah. So to kind of break it down, in undergrad, I've always kind of had like this right brain, left brain situation. And I try as much as I can to tap into both the science, the hardcore, like analytical side, as well as like my fun loving, let's paint stuff, that side. So in college, I was a part of a poetry collective. And so that really helped keep my creativity going. And then when I went into grad school, these were my forms of release, right? So, like in college, poetry and the poetry collective was my form of release. I could write down what I was feeling, express it, and be like, whew, okay, now I can go study biochemistry and be ready for that. And so when I started grad school, painting became my release because for some reason the words weren't doing what I needed them to do. And so I found solace in painting. And I had never thought that I'd be like a commissioned artist, right? Like people would literally be like, hey, can you paint this thing for my house? And I'm like, oh, well, sure. Let me figure that into my my availability. But yeah, I just started painting in grad school and allowed that to be the space where I could feel calm and passion for whatever was happening internally with me. And then I'd be able to have the space to figure out and think about work or school. And so that's kind of where the painting started. And the way it kind of took off was a couple of my family members was just like, do you ever sell these? And I was like, no. I have like a whole slew of stuff. And they're like, so you're not selling them. You just have them on your walls? It's like, yeah. So I just randomly started selling them. And I did a paint show called Pancakes and Booze, or Booze and Pancakes, which is happens yearly in DC. And I submitted about 5 or 6 pieces. And at that time, I was working for the nonprofit in DC. And so there was at least 5 or 6 people who either purchased something or followed up with me to buy something or commissioned me later. And I was like, you know what? I could make this a little side hustle. And a lot of the things that I do
Mm-hmm.
now started out as a little side hustle. And at some point, I got fed up and I said, I'm just going to take the jump of faith and
I
say that
love
this
it. I
side
love it.
hustle can
You're,
hold
I mean,
me.
you're like, you're speaking to me right now. So I'm about to soak all of this up, because I'm not even in the transition. I've pretty much transitioned. I got a day and a half of school left, and then like my script is fully ripped up, and it's
Hmm.
life is real after that. But more about you, right? So we got
Yeah.
the art, we have the personal training certificate, and then you got your two-part yoga. What's going on with yoga?
Yes. Yeah. So how did that come about? Okay. A lot of these things are literally just because of me, right? Like my passion, my likes, my desires. And I've figured out how to hone in on that and make money from it. And so how yoga trapeze came about is once I left my like 9 to 5 job and I started doing personal training. My personal training colleagues, we always swapping ideas and talking about things. And one of them came to the gym one day with a trapeze, with a yoga, and she was like, I just bought this thing and let's do some stuff. And I was like, okay. And so we got on it. She showed me how to do it, an inversion. And actually, I'll send you some pictures if you want to splice them in there. I don't know. But she showed me how to do an inversion. And I was like, this is everything. Where can I find out more? How can I put this in my arsenal of things? Um, and then that was it. That's all she wrote. Like, I literally looked up the people who sell them. And she told me, she was like, they have a teacher training. And I was like, what? This is it. So, and I like to travel. That's the other thing that's big about me. I like to travel and I like to have the ability to make my own schedule and do what I want to do when I want to do. And so I looked up this training and it was in Barcelona. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to Barcelona, Spain for like 2 weeks to do this training. Yeah. And I booked my ticket, I signed up, and I was like, let's go. And that was one of the best things that I ever could have done. I am very unique in how I move about my life, meaning I don't like to do things that everyone else is doing, right? Like yoga is really, really big. And yes, I could have gone and gotten like a traditional yoga teaching cert. But I felt like, why? Everybody does that. Yoga trapeze, you don't see that often. And I felt also as though like yoga trapeze allows you to get deeper into certain poses without the impact or the stress on your body that mat based yoga can do if you're not like really intentional about how you practice. So once I did that part of Barcelona training and I came back and I was like, this is everything. I feel better in myself. I have a slight touch of scoliosis. And when I started practicing trapeze more often, my lower back pain, hip pain, those all went away. And from then on, I was like, everyone needs to do this. I need to make sure that I can provide this to everyone. How can I do that?
I remember coming to your house and you giving me a little training on that thing. It was interesting. The relief from being upside down for them that minute or so was
Mhm.
dope. It was
Yeah.
dope. So I have to agree. So I wanna touch on something before we go on to your next side hustle that I feel is very key and important. Um, at no point when you were expressing these particular things did you did I feel like you were in a sense like skimping, right? So you went and got these certifications. You know what I'm saying? Like you paid money to get these certifications. You flew. You put money forth to go after this particular knowledge or this experience that you wanted. And I feel like a lot of times when people do have this desire to do something, no disrespect to YouTube in the least bit, but we will YouTube or free it out as much as we can to piece things together without
Hmm.
just going essentially to the source. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's like no disrespect to the people who are giving these tidbits and things like that. But what kind of motivated you to just say, bump it? Like, I'm just going to spend money and get all of my answers now instead of trying to piece it together.
Well, as you were talking, all I could think about is like when we go through education and here in the US, um, college and grad school and all of that you have to pay for. In other countries, you don't. But you gain a greater appreciation for what you learn when you've invested money into it, right? So, like, my time in grad school learning about toxicology and environmental health, I totally appreciate it because one, I put money into it, time into it, and work into it. And I pride myself to be able to say, I have a master's of public health and environmental toxicology. Like that's what? And so for me, coming from that thought process of when you invest in yourself, you are more equipped to invest in others. And so that's kind of how that came around. Like, yo, if I'm gonna do this, I need to invest in it. Therefore, I'm investing in myself. And then when I get ready to create whatever flows that I create or workout programs that I could create, it's coming from a place of knowledge. And then that makes people who come to me feel more comfortable, right? Like I could have taken the training in Georgia, but I was like, one, I like to travel. And two, how much more awesome does it sound to say, I went to Barcelona to get this training? So I, I, I think when you want to be for real successful, the free stuff will get you to a certain level. But in order to find the next level of success, you have to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself can look in like in many different ways. It could be financially, it could be via time or both, but there has to be a true investment of yourself to for betterment because that's how other people get better too.
So to tack onto that particular topic, when it comes to it, so you said a lot of stuff was side hustles. You went and got these certifications, you gained this awesome knowledge, and now comes the time for you to say, "This is what I do, and this is what you're going to pay me because I have this knowledge." So how did you transition from, okay, I'm acquiring this knowledge, now I can provide a service, and going from, okay, let me try this out, so maybe I'll do it for this price, and then so like, and what stage are you at right now? It's just like, yo, this is what I charge, and like it is what it is. So how did you transition from, okay, I'm gonna go get this knowledge, and now I'm gonna provide the service, and now this is what I charge. I'm not budging. You're welcome.
Yeah, so COVID really helped with that. So this past year with COVID, right? Everything shut down, gym shut down, and I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? Because I was working for a gym, and also this is another reason why sometimes it's good to work for others, right? So at the gym, they have their own hierarchy of what they charge for your sessions, and I was considered a master trainer. A master trainer is the highest level of trainer that you could get at that establishment. And they were charging over $100 for a session with me, and people were paying it. Now, I wasn't getting that full chunk, right? Because I was working for someone and I got a fraction of that amount. But I was like, huh, y'all charging this, and this is not included with their membership, right? Like they are they are paying for their membership fee, and then as additional service, they're paying for me as a trainer, as a master trainer, so it's like these people could have been paying who knows how much in a month. And that is the first place where I realized my worth. But my worth in that instance was connected to someone else. And COVID, because everything shut down, and then the gym that I was working at notified us later on, like maybe 3 or 4 months in the midst of the pandemic, that they were not going to open again. And they were shutting down multiple locations. And I was like, oh, okay, so now this is God, universe, telling me you have to go completely out on your own. Like, what are you doing? And so that's when I started like my website, and I really went harder in on my IG, and I reached out to all of my old clients that were at the gym, and I was like, yo, the gym shut down. My I can you still hear me?
Yep.
This thing just said connection lost. Okay. Um yeah, I reached out to everybody. I was like, look, I'm going out on my own. This is how much I'm charging. And I used the gym's price as a baseline.
Nice.
Now, I did not start at like over $100 because for me, I was just like, I still feel like that's unreasonable, but I should have because that's what people were paying already. And if I'm going back to my old clientele and that's what they're used to paying, that's what I should have done. But I wasn't at the place where I had my self-worth at the same value of what somebody else had put it at. that was when Corona started. Now I'm like, oh no, you have to pay me. Well, all these things behind my name, all this stuff that I do, nah, you're gonna have to pay me. Uh, so yeah, I think there was a lot of development for me in figuring out what my self-worth was and then reminding myself that I have done and seen a lot and invested a lot in myself to put myself in this position so that way I can charge XYZ. And one thing, my one of my cousins told me, because I was one day I was just super tired. I was like, I'm tired. I got like all of these clients, and it's still not enough income for me to do X, Y, Z, and blah blah blah. And he was like, "Well, charge
Hmm.
more." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know if I want to." And he was like, "Listen, you need more money because you have all these other things to take into account of, right? And you want to be able to do X, Y, Z, so you have to charge more money." And the last little like in his comment was he said, if you don't want to take on more clients, right, and you want to invest all of your real focus and brain power into the select few that you have, then you charge more and they'll get more for it because you're not spreading yourself super thin. And I was like, okay, you got me.
Hmm.
You got me.
I told you, man, you over here, you giving it to me right now. I'm only asking you questions that I need. You know what I'm saying? So like charging and pricing is one of the biggest like when it comes to, going out on your own or doing entrepreneurial work or providing services for people. But those are the exact same things that I'm trying to, as I'm transitioning, build as my foundation. We just like, yo, like they take it or leave it. But for real, like I think I was telling somebody earlier today, I was just like, you can either be tired from doing 15 projects for $50, or you can do 4 projects for 2,000 and be straight. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have to deal with the,
Mm-hmm.
people who pay less money are so picky.
Yes.
They want everything. I'm like, you pay $5. I'm like, what you talking about? You pay $5? No, no, this is it. But you talk a little bit more to somebody who actually put up some money. So it's just like, oh, and they're grateful. They leave you alone. So I appreciate you, you know, just going out there and doing your thing and representing for your craft and everything like that. I had an interview not too long ago, and the interviewer was the interviewer was asking me, what I would say or what I want to say to female creators, and I said, just go out there and like do your thing. Like we have to value ourselves so that when the next person comes, they're not expecting or looking for a discount. So if I go
Mm-hmm.
out and I get my certification for personal training and, I haven't had that opportunity to, look into my self-worth and things of that nature, and I'm charging $15 for something that should be charged 75, that creates issues for you to be just like, well, such and such does it cheaper when we're offering similar or same value situations, but people become accustomed to always looking for the lesser amount. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for, especially addressing the fact that we have to get better at valuing ourselves, valuing our experiences, valuing, like, when you talk about your degrees, it's just like, yo, I got a lot of degrees too. And it doesn't have to do with anything that you're doing, but that experience has enriched the service that these people are going to give you. It doesn't matter if I'm a professional dog walker and I turn into a concert singer. Like it all has to do with the experiences that I had to make this experience better for you. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
go
And
ahead.
so I just really want to add on that is that even in our past experiences, you bring something from that. Like, even if it feels so disconnected, you still bring something from it, right? So, my environmental health background, I still bring lots of those elements into the personal training realm because I'm like, yo, we're not going to personal train outside next to a highly polluted traffic way, or I don't want you doing your fast paced walk in the evening when traffic is going hella fast because now your respiratory system is breathing in a lot faster and a lot more, and then we're breathing in toxins coming from vehicles. And so, like, there's always a way to connect what you've done to what you're doing currently because they merge. You're still the same person. You're just using, and that makes you even more
Yeah.
valuable, right? Like this dog walker experience and singing, the dog walker, you have stamina, the ability to walk for a long time. That helps with the singing on stage. There's always something that connects from what you've done in the past to what you're moving forward and doing. And I think it's up to us to really think through that and connect them, because when you make that connection and you share that with other people, then they see your value even more.
And that is so powerful. That is so powerful. Um, and just bringing it, because a lot of times, even myself, I don't even talk about the things that I've already done and already accomplished, because I have felt that it didn't connect. When I've had conversations with friends recently of who I used to work with, and they're like, first of all, do you know how much stuff you already have in that head, like the stuff that you can just bring out and monetize because of the experience, like you can
Hmm.
turn. And I'm even in conversations, like, I work with like a coach and stuff like that, and I'm just like, I didn't even know I didn't even consider that, you know what I'm saying? So that's dope. I want to get
Hmm.
into your other hustle, your other hustle. I don't even know what it is for. I'm gonna let you have all of that. I'm gonna tell me where, like, what, and like where it started, what it is.
So, over the past couple years, there's two things that have been really big in my life, right? Is trapeze, personal training, but really, really trapeze, and comfortability in my body and my sexuality as a woman, as an African American Black woman of Caribbean descent, like being comfortable in that body. And so those two things have been really merging together for me. And so because of that, I created couples trapeze movements. And I was just like, you know what? Like this is so intimate. These poses for couples are so intimate. And I think within our, especially the Black community, some of our couples don't have all the tools to support one another or to reach a new level of intimacy, because maybe they've gotten into the day to day and it's just kind of like blah blah blah, or maybe they just feel disconnected from one another. Whatever the case may be, as I created those poses, I was just like, I people need to know this. People need to know about this. That's always my thing. Once I find it, I'm like, people need to know. And so I started working with a yoga teacher that I met through the gym. She's awesome. Her name is Tamara, and we created Sexual Enigma. And so Sexual Enigma is utilizing both mat-based yoga and yoga trapeze to help couples get deeper into intimacy, trust, and vulnerability. Those are our three pillars: intimacy, trust, and vulnerability. And without one of them, you can't have the other. And so we decided, okay, we're going to do this workshop. We created this beautiful workshop, and then we were like, how are we going to tell people about this? And again, COVID happened, and we've got this time to like think through things. And we're like, well, let's do an IG live about like sexual health and couples relationships. And so back in July of last year, we started an IG live. It's weekly right now, and we have discussed everything from sex toys to um, intimacy after sex to tantric yoga and how that connects with like your sexual intimacy, to pleasure and pleasure play. All, I mean, the gamut of things. And we always connect it back to those three pillars: trust, intimacy, and vulnerability, and how you can find that even more in a mat based couples practice, as well as a mat based, or as well as a yoga trapeze practice. So that's my other little side hustle. And there's lots of stuff coming in the pipe with that.
But that's dope though,
Unintended.
because I would just say that's dope, because sorry, um, it's not. the way that um, sex and intimacy is communicated in the Black community specifically is not a pleasant one, if you will. A lot of it comes from the influences of media and porn and movies and romanticizing certain situations. And so even as a single person, having not necessarily like having, in a sense, advocates out there that are kind of explaining things, because um, there are things that are just not told or explained, or you don't have conversations about it until people done jump the broom and they don't know what's going on no more. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I can appreciate you all having that particular outlet to educate people more, and then also on the backside, helping marriages become more restored as you help them learn more about each other, and especially I'm sure during a time of COVID that it came in handy because they had time to practice. Um,
Hmm.
so that's dope, and so thank you for doing all of that. We may or may not have covered all of your side hustles, but it's all good. What I'm going to ask you now is, you mentioned a lot of things that COVID kind of gave you the time to do. Is there anything else that COVID gave you the opportunity to do, explore, or learn about yourself, or other things like that? I think we always take COVID, and yes, it has made a huge impact on the world. And, our hearts go out to people who have lost loved ones and things of that nature. But I don't necessarily want to always portray COVID, or not necessarily COVID, but the time that we had, that concentrated time that we had, as a negative thing. I always want to
Hmm.
pull out what you had the opportunity to do, or what self discovery came out of that particular situation. Because, to be honest, and bring it once again back to the Black community, there's so much has happened to us, and they still don't know why we smile and why we sing and
Mm.
why we dance. And this is because it
Yeah.
is ingrained in us to persevere, to get out of it, to deal with it, to find a solution. And I want to make sure that people can reflect on that, and bring that to light. Like, yes, it did a lot of sucky things, but what did it do for you? Sorry, I got all intense. My
Mhm.
bad. Go ahead.
No, I feel you. For me, first thing COVID, just like you said, the concentrated time of basically isolation, right? Allowed me to
Mhm.
rest, honestly, because I was going, right? I was doing all of these things. The painting, I was doing paint and sip nights too. Um, yes, that's
You did one
all
for
these
us
things.
too, so I already know.
Yeah. And when that happened, I was like, oh, this is a mandatory vacation. Oh, good. I get to sleep. Like, thank you. Thank you. But out of rest comes creativity, right? Like when you're stressed and you're always on the go and you're thinking, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, you don't get a chance to sit down, reflect, and decide on, what do I like to do? Do I still like to do what I'm doing right now? Is there anything that I want to like do differently? Is there anything I want to try? Is there any new venture that I'm looking forward to or want to do? And so that's the first couple months was allowing me to do that, to rest first, and then that opened up my creative mind to say, okay, so what's next? What else can I do? How can I use these things that I've got to make me more money and still be happy? And so that would be the positive for me. Like I know it's been a rough year. I mean, it's been a rough year for me too, but business wise, I have grown tremendously. I've grown tremendously. And I've been afforded the opportunity to, and I call it an opportunity rather than a you were pushed out the door, because it's kind of like I was pushed out the door. The gym closed. They were like, we not open it again. So it's kind of like you got pushed out the door. But I'm gonna say it was an opportunity. I've been afforded the opportunity to really just be my own business person. Like no one runs my schedule unless I allow it, right? And that is freeing. It was scary at first, I'll be honest with you, but it's super freeing. And I am grateful for this past year, or really 18 months so, of that ability to rest, recuperate, reflect, create, and thrive.
So just to highlight really quick that you still handling all of your business. Now I by no means don't want to tell anybody to like chase your passion and quit everything and don't take care of your bills and whatnot. But you've been able to build up your businesses to the point where you know you're fine. You're living comfortably as far as I understand. And with that mindset that, or you know, that highlight that your cousin brought out, I'm sure you've been able to structure some things to where it's just like I can be comfortable and I can, you know, build to continue to have that freedom to explore different things, which is great. And so, yeah, granted, it takes time, and certain people have other responsibilities and families and marriages and things like that. But it is possible to achieve a certain level of success, even if you have to kind of jump over a few hurdles to make it happen. So I'm happy that you're an example of a person who has responsibilities, and you've been able to manage them and also get to the point where you still manage your schedule. Like that's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. Okay, so at this point, as we are about to wrap things up, I would love to just, like I said to you earlier before we came on the call, I want you just to give 3 tips. I don't even care who you're speaking to. You got so many different people that you can speak to. If you want to give more than 3 tips, that's on you. That's great. But what 3 tips would, just throw some tips out. I don't even care. It's probably all for me anyway. Just 3 tips. Just tell us what's up.
The first one is don't limit yourself, right? We put our own constraints on ourselves, and no one does that. We do it ourselves. And then we say, "Well, I can't like literally, I remember growing up, my mom my mom told me, she was like, "Well, what are you going to do with toxicology? Is there a job in that?" I was like, "Yeah, of course. Yeah." And then when I started doing personal training, she was just like, "But you're a toxicologist." And I was like, "Yeah, but I could do this too." And so I think just don't limit yourself. And because when you do, we have infinite possibilities. And so limiting yourself limits your possibilities, and it limits the amount of impact you can have on the world. And that's a sad thing when you have the possibility to impact people at a huge level and we can't because we limited what we thought we could do. So that would be one, not to limit yourself. Um, value, value yourself too. I think that's also connected with not limiting, because if you value yourself, you kind of understand that, yo, I'm a boss. I could do what I want. So really value yourself, find your worth, and then don't compromise that for anything. Don't compromise it, because there may be one person who doesn't want to pay your price, but there are 12 others who are willing to. And that is one thing that I've really, really learned. Like, even, girl, I have so learned that. I told, I got to the place where I was like, Robin, you have to. So let's say for the yoga trapeze, it's very specialized, right? Yoga trapeze, let's say I charge $1,000 for it. I don't, but let's say I charge $1,000 for one session, right? If I were to come up to somebody and be like, "Hey, yeah, so my session is an hour and it costs like 1,000. Are you willing to pay that?" Versus, this is a session with me is 60 minutes. It's $1,000. You can pay via these forms, and let me know when you're ready to schedule. There's a difference there, right? The latter is like, oh snap, dang, I got to get in here. And I tell people my calendar books up a month in advance. So if you want to get in, you get in now, or you wait another month or two. That's what it is. So value yourself, because if you don't, nobody will. They will run all over you, because it's easier to run over somebody who has low self-worth. And then, oh, this is the best one. Follow your passion. Don't do anything that, okay, there are stressors. You have stressors. It happens, right? But when you're stressed, when your body is in continual stress response and you are not happy, that is not the path you want to be on. And continual meaning months upon months upon months, right? Like I have stressful spots in my day when I'm like, okay, Robin, we've got to do all these things. We've got to send these emails. We've got to book these people. Because I don't have an admin person yet. That's on my list of things. But that's stressful. But that's not how every day is. That's like a 20-minute, an hour span of my day. And the rest of it, I get to be like, let's flip upside down. Let's let's pump this iron, you know? So follow your passion, because your passion will lead you to the money. And it's all about just finding how to capitalize on your passion.
Ooh, Robin. I don't know how many times I'm gonna rewatch this over, but I'm so happy that I can call you friend, and I could be like, I need a pep talk. I need a pep talk.
Oh,
So with that being said,
yay.
I'm happy that I have my access to you. Oh, before I say that, I want to just you said a key word earlier, and you said faith, which is one of the things that have connected us in general, and just how important it is to have that, that reassurance that things can work out. They can also suck, but having like what has faith done for you, or how have you been able to even just activate and utilize your faith to get you to the point where you are today?
I love that question. Uh, and I'm so happy you asked it, because, in all honesty, the thing that reminds me that I am loved, I am valued, and I am worth, and I am walking on the path that I'm supposed to be walking on is the fact that I have not had to want for
Mm.
anything, right? And I remember thinking, yo, I'm a child of God, right? And as a child of God, then I get cows and cattle upon hills, and I am prosperous, right? And so I recently have been moving outside of a lack mind frame into a prosperity mind frame, and reminding myself that even evil people know how to give good to their
Mm.
children. How would I ever think that God would not give good to me when I know that I am walking on the path He has for me,
Right.
right? So, with that thought, I was like, so then I should never feel in need or in want of anything at all. And so I mentioned earlier that I am right now in the process of doing a dual certification for life coach and health coach. And the program was an astronomical amount of money that I was like, I don't have that. um, but I told God, I was like, Lord, you put this on my heart. That means you have it, and you're going to supply it, and you're going to tell me how to do that. So I'm leaving this in your hand. I know what program I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And that same day, after I said that, probably a couple hours later, I was filled with the urge to send out an email to friends, family, and like just people that were in my contact list, asking for support. And I never asked for support for anything. I don't ask nobody for nothing. I'd be like, nah, I got this. But that was on my heart. Sent out that message. A friend of mine was like, oh, I really hope you get it. I hope you get everything that you need. And I said, no, no, boo.
Mm.
It's not a hope. It's a I will, and it's a I will get it by the
Amen.
time I need it, because I'm a child of God and He put this on my heart, and this is how it's going to go. And I received what I needed within about 5 days of me sending out that email, like all that I needed. And I was like, bet, hallelujah, hallelujah. Um, so all that being said, faith is huge for me. And just reminding myself that I'm a child of God and that He's always going to have my back and I will never have to want for anything. Even when times are tough, all I have to say is,
Mm,
but God, I'm your child. So you're going to take care of me. I may not see how it's going to unfold. I don't need to because I'm not the
mm.
parent, right? You're the parent. So you're going to take care of me. And all I need to do is sit back and let you hold me. So that's what I do.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Like I was saying earlier, I'm happy that I have the privilege, the opportunity to access you as a friend. Please, please
Yay.
tell these people
Ditto.
where they can follow and connect with you. So once you all certified and stuff, you can help them get their life together. Because I feel like I got some notes and things that
Yes.
I want to get together after this phone call right here. But please tell these people where they can find you and how they can get in contact with you and all the
Yeah.
many wonderful things that you do.
Yeah, so let's start with my IG platforms. You can follow me on Instagram at flyfit_RJ. That would be my fitness page, my yoga trapeze page. And then you can also visit my website, www.flyfitness.net. And then for Sexual Enigma, if you're a couple or even if you're an individual, because we have some work going on with individuals too, you can follow us on IG at sexual_enigma, ENIGMA. That would be Instagram. And then the website is the same, sexualenigma.net. Make sure you put net.com for both of these. And then if you would like to email me, you can email me at info at flyfitness.net. Again, info at flyfitness.net. And that's the best place to reach out to me.
Robin, you have been nothing short of a blessing
Thank you.
on this interview, and I thank you for all of you who have viewed this. If you stuck throughout this interview, if you didn't, it's your fault. But if you did and you got some value, please tell me one of the biggest key takeaways right down here in the comment section. Give us your key takeaways. Go ahead, make sure you follow Robin on all of the social platforms, and hit her up if you have any questions. Like continue to support her. There's many of us, and we need that initial push. And I'm happy to be able to highlight the people who are out here doing it, even if we're sticking to our 9 to 5s and doing our side hustle on the side, but it's being done, and we want to continue to encourage you. So if you know of any other unicorns out there that you'd like to hear from, or for me to be able to speak to, please go ahead and DM me, and I appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see y'all next time.